Hey everybody, welcome to What the Flicks Countdown to Christmas. Alonso and Ben Mankiewicz. We're here every day until Christmas talking about 25 of my favorite holiday movies, many of them featured in my book, Have Yourself a Movie Little Christmas, now available at Amazon. Today we're talking about Remember the Night from 1940. Take a look. So this is a movie that I flat out did not even know existed until TCM kind of spearheaded the revival of it a few years ago.
We've done that with a couple of movies at TCM. This is certainly one of them. They were sort of forgotten Christmas classics that maybe showed up on TV sometimes in the 50s as people were starting to air movies on television, but then largely went away. This was not a movie that got rented. And then TCM shows up in '94 and starts programming Christmas movies throughout December, and this and the Mitchum Janet Leigh movie, Holiday Affair, right?
Absolutely,
That another one that again not
kind of fell between the cracks,
totally, and then was sort of revived. Good thing, one of the great things that TCM does.
Yeah, no, in fact, and put out the first Blu-ray, which is great. This is a 1940 comedy with Fred MacMurray and Barbara Stanwyck, who we most famously think of as being a whole different kind of couple in Double Indemnity.
And in this one, right, because in Double Indemnity, they plot to kill her wife. Here, they kill his mom.
They do not.
Christmas morning, slit her wrist
for the insurance,
and they blame it on his cook, and it works. They get away with it. Cook gets executed.
I don't think you watched this.
It's a morality tale.
So this is actually the last movie that Preston Sturges wrote but didn't direct.
That's right.
And apparently, I found in my research, it's one of when he was able to purchase 16mm prints from Paramount of his films. He chose only 2 of movies that he wrote and didn't direct, and this is one of them. But it is it's a charming comedy. MacMurray plays a DA in New York. He is prosecuting a shoplifter played by Barbara Stanwyck. He kind of pushes the trial off on some technicality until after the holiday. She's going to be stuck in jail the whole time through a complicated series of circumstances. He invites her to come home with him to the Midwest.
They're both from Indiana.
They're both from Indiana. They're both Sooners.
Hoosiers.
Hoosiers, sorry.
Oklahoma.
Oh, pardon. Yeah. Sorry, both states. So they go back home. We find out where Barbara Stanwyck came from and why that's sort of put her where she is now. And then we also see the sort of wonderful, loving home life that MacMurray has, and you see her kind of blossom into the person she could have been had her mother been more, caring and attentive.
I read somewhere, I don't know, maybe Sturges said it, but that sort of falling in love with him saves her and corrupts him. Because he's sort of, he's a pure prosecutor.
Right.
The judge and the other prosecutor or the cop or whoever that guy is there. They spend some time talking about how he'd never go easy on her because they're worried that they might have been seen together. And,
Right.
But he has some plan to save her, but it's unclear what that plan is.
Right, and whether or not it would be, completely ethical or not.
So about Sturges, though, this one's directed by Mitchell Leisen, who I think who did a number of movies with, I think 8 movies, 8 or 9, 7, 8 or 9 with MacMurray.
Oh, interesting.
MacMurray worked with Leisen more than, and with Carol Lombard early in his career, late with a couple with Colbert, and then with Marlene Dietrich too. Like there was Fred MacMurray and some big star, right?
The lady,
right? Paulette Goddard too. But what Leisen cut out of the reason this is the last movie, as you said, that Sturges wrote but didn't direct was because he couldn't stand it when directors cut his scripts.
Sure.
Because he was every word is perfect.
Of course, naturally, yes.
And I think he proved then going forward.
Well, yeah, that he had a point.
He did have a point. But what got cut was, it's interesting that Leisen and MacMurray worked together so much because what got cut was a bunch of MacMurray stuff. Like he was quicker and funnier and a little more dashing. And Leisen, who worked with him a lot, didn't think that wasn't what he did. He's sort of straightforward and humble and funny, but so much of what came out was MacMurray stuff.
Well, I think I don't know. I mean, I never saw What's Missing, but certainly I think what's there is churse, as Spencer Tracy says. Right. Especially you have Beulah Bondi, who would later play Ma Bailey, of course, famously in It's a Wonderful Life, as MacMurray's mother, and she's terrific. And one of my favorite sort of goofball character actors, Sterling Holloway.
Right, is the cousin, family friend?
Yeah, he's the farmhand, maybe? I don't know.
Acquaintance, charming.
He wears a Tyrolean hat like nobody's business.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. But,
the hat that he gets for Christmas with the weird thing.
What's it called?
I think it's Tyrolean.
All right.
Tyrolean. I don't know. I probably got that wrong too. But yeah, there's a sleigh ride. There's misunderstandings. There's a road trip. I mean, this movie has everything.
There's a citizen's arrest.
There's a citizen's arrest. There's a cow that eats a hat. But yeah,
can fire.
all the things you want.
Right.
But Stanwyck and MacMurray, again, I think they made a total of 3 movies together actually. But
I think 4, but 3 or 4. Yeah.
Yeah, but the only one that I had seen before this was Double Indemnity, where they're very sort of famously it's this dark noir thing where they're out to murder her husband, and you're not sure if they can even trust each other. And in this movie, they are so wonderfully matched, and they're so open together. It's interesting to watch such a flip on what we're used to seeing with their kind of on-screen chemistry.
Yeah, it's totally different, but they're good together. And also, so Sturgis writes this. He's hanging around the set. He's watching because he's making this. He did The Great McGinty next, which is the first one where he basically said, "You don't have to pay me, just let me
shoot it."
But he said to Stanwyck during this time, I think we've reported on TCM that she was in the hospital, and he came and see her. She broke her leg or something. And he came to see her, but I didn't see that part of it. But anyway, he comes to her at some point during production of this and says, "Hey, listen, I'm going to write a movie for you that I'm going to direct, and it's going to be a part written specifically for you." And she's like, "Swell, thanks, whatever." And it was Lady Eve.
Oh wow!
So he did it. He wrote it, and they made it. It was great.
And this I think fits in with roles like in Lady Eve, Ball of Fire, where she is a criminal. She is, she's snappy patter, girl of the street. But at the same time, you peel back that veneer and you see this very sort of vulnerable, sweet Midwestern girl, who circumstances sort of pushed into being the kind of, gum snapping, mall that she has become.
When people ask me, and I get asked a fair amount, what's the, what classic starlet, classic actress do I like best? And it's always unclear whether they're talking about talent or whether, who I'm like, va-va-voom.
Sure, yeah.
And I don't know, I don't have a consistent answer because it depends. But whenever I answer, at 8 minutes later, I'm like, oh, no, wait, it's Barbara Stanwyck.
Forget everything I just said.
Forget it. And then every time you see her in something like this, you're sort of reminded. She says at one point to the mom, well, I think it's the mom. Maybe it's the mom's. Maybe
or
it's
the
housekeeper.
Yeah.
Is that the aunt? Is the aunt?
Maybe.
Whatever. But she's the other woman in the house who has this wonderful, snappy relationship with the mom, but they clearly love each other. Says, he loves you, and she's like, oh no, he doesn't. And she goes, look, I'm not unattractive, or something to that. They're like, no, you're not unattractive. That's right. Yeah.
So this is one of the cool things about writing this book was sort of getting to see all these movies that I did not know about, or maybe sort of had a vague notion they existed, but didn't really think of them as Christmas movies. And so I definitely count this among the sort of personal discoveries that I was most excited about. So it is quite likely, unless you've caught it in its TCM revival in the last couple of years, that you've never seen Remember the Night. And so I'm envious because you now have the opportunity to see it for the first time, and you'll love it.
Yeah, and a couple of quick things. One,
sure.
This is we're doing Honor Majesty's Secret Service also at some point this month, and like that you got to sort of make into a Christmas movie. I mean, for a Bond movie, it's definitely a Christmas movie. No, but this one is a Christmas movie.
No question.
Because it started the trend that is actually practiced is that if you get arrested before Christmas, whoever is prosecuting you takes you home to meet their family.
Yes.
That's what happens in American jurisprudence.
Oh yeah, and you could totally see like the sort of so Hallmark Channel version of this exact story, but it would not have nearly the grace or the wit that this movie has.
Well, I do want to. I always feel like the what do you call it? The valet, Fred McMurray's valet.
Yes,
that is rough. That is rough.
You know, I always get tense when that character enters in any movie these days, and he's not so bad by compared to say like the one in I'm blanking on the woman who plays the housekeeper in Holiday Inn, for instance. Like there are black servant characters of that era who are just genuinely cringeworthy. He's fairly straight up.
This is a guy, apparently he's listed as Snowflake playing Rufus.
Yes,
but he's okay. It's just how it's written. It's what they expect. I mean, there's one moment when Fat Mike is a character in it who bails Barbara Stanwyck out, and he's like Fat Ike, like, and you're like, that's just like he would know what Mike is. Right? Like, it's dumb. And then later, MacMurray, they're in the car, and he goes, "Oh wait, they're hungry," and he's like, "Oh wait, of course, Rufus, he's not too bright, but he sure can cook." And you're like, "Hey, the actor's probably brilliant."
Probably, yes, absolutely. Right. And I think it's just that I've seen so much worse.
Oh yeah,
I get it.
Like there's worse. It's just always
once you've seen Judy Garland do blackface like in 3 different movies, you're like, okay, we're just gonna,
yeah, it is.
It was the times. But no, thank you for pointing that out. I appreciate it. So yeah, remember the night. Check it out, and we're here every day till Christmas. So come back and see us. Happy holidays.